On DONUTSMP, bones are easily one of the most important resources in the entire server, because they power most of the popular farms. Right now, kelp farms are the meta, which means bone meal is in incredible high demand. As a result, bone prices have absolutely skyrocketed. And if you don't own any skeleton spawners, you're basically forced to buy bones at these insanely inflated prices just to keep your farms running. And the worst part is that skeleton spawners themselves are extremely expensive, making it really hard for newer or mid-game players to get them. Instead of constantly spending money, I started thinking, what if I could produce my own bone meal? What if I could build a farm that essentially generates bone meal out of thin air? That's when I came up with the idea of a moss-based bone meal farm, a system that grows moss and composts it automatically, turning it into a self-sustaining supply of bone meal. So that's exactly what I'm going to build in this video, but before I can start, I need to find the perfect location for the farm. So I think this is a pretty good place to build a farm, so now I just need to dig down and blow up an area to build the farm in. So I just built these 3 bone meal machines, and now I'm going to test them for the first time. So let's switch them on and hope they all work. So this one seems to be working. This one also seems to be working. And also this one. So they all work for the first time. Now I think I'm just going to build 3 more of these. But how does this farm work? So basically, the farm creates stone, then it bone meals a moss block, making the surrounding stone blocks turn into moss. Then the moss gets put into composters, and the composters make the moss into bone meal. But the catch is that one bone meal can generate more than one bone meal worth of moss. So the machine dispenses us the profit. So now that I have built 3 more of these machines, I'ma switch them all on and see if they also work. So this one seems to be working. This one also seems to be working. And this one also seems to be working. Nice. Everything works on the first try. Now I'm trying to make a master lever that will turn on all of the farms at the same time. So it is not the prettiest thing in the world, but it should work, so let's try it and see if every single one turns on. It's working, but just working. So I think I'm going to make a kelp farm here that uses the bone meal from these machines. And for the first thing I'm going to do is the smoker part here. So now that I have some of the farm built, I'ma order some blaze rods so I can fill the machine up. Holy, this order filled up so quickly. And by the way, this ain't really an ordinary way to build this part of the machine, but I can just order the exact amount of blaze rods so I can build it this way. Okay, now I'm going to start working on the part that takes kelp and smokes it. Okay, now I'm going to start working on the actual kelp farm part. So now I'm going to make all of the machines drop their bone meal to a water stream, and all the water streams should bring the bone meal to this machine. So I have done quite a lot. The first thing I did was redesign this kelp machine, because the old design just didn't work. The second thing I did was connect all of the droppers with waterways, and also made this observer clock that turns on when the machines turn on. And finally I connected all of the machines, so the bone meal comes here, little show area comes to the machine here, and the kelp goes here to the smokers. Now I'm going to sell all of the bone meal I have, because I have so much bone meal just sitting in chest there. And then I'm going to design this part so it doesn't look this ugly. Just look at this. Who knew that bone meal sells so well? So now I have sold all of the bone meal and have went up quite a lot of money. So now I'm going to start designing this part. I think I'm done with the overall design, but now I gotta bring the levers here and connect the storage system. So now really everything is connected up. So this lever will turn on all of the Bonemeal machines, and the Bonemeal should start going here, as you can see. Then this lever will turn up this farm, and everything should go there. And the kelp should end up in here. And also I got my little storage for my own stuff. So let's test it for an hour and see how much money this thing can make. So there's a problem where kelp gets stuck up here, and that's quite a lot of kelp that gets getting stuck, so I'm gonna try to fix that somehow. So I figured out that the problem was the glass panes, so I switched them for gates. Now we have a simpler design but with gates. So let's switch everything on and test the farm for an hour and see how much money this farm will make. So while I'm AFKing for the raids, I am now slowly realizing how big I built this, because the Bonemeal machines can only source like 3 of these dispensers to fire, so the 5 are just sitting here doing nothing. And also the smoker part, only like these first, now 10 are actually working, and this entire second part is just doing nothing, and this part is just doing nothing. So I spent like 10 million on blaze rods for I don't know what, so I'm probably going to sell the blaze rods at some point. In fact, let me do that right now so I can get all my money back. So I didn't actually wait the full hour, but I waited 15 minutes and got all of this kelp. So let's sell it and see how much money I get. So with 15 minutes I got 412,000. So 412,000 in 15 minutes comes out to about 1.7 million per hour. But the real question is, should you build this farm? Honestly, I'd say yes. This farm didn't take that long to build, it wasn't very expensive, and it makes about 1.7 million in pure profit, which is pretty good in my opinion. However, there were 2 problems with the farm. First, you can't log out while the farm is running. If you do, it will start generating cobblestone instead of stone for some reason, which breaks the system. Second, right after I finished recording the video, the machines randomly stopped working. The problem was that the moss started getting stuck inside the stone blocks, so the machines didn't produce enough Bonemeal to keep running. What's weird is that the farm worked perfectly fine for about 5 days, and then suddenly this problem started happening. But if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.